Tyrus dismantles Jim Gaffigan. Not literally, because Tyrus, he could pull the arms off of any living man. His arms are so big. But Jim Gaffigan is having some regrets about criticizing Trump and the audience. Welcome to Doug in Exile. This is where the happy patriots are. We're going to talk about culture. That's a big thing, is kind of where are the Democrats landing? And I mean the culture of where Democrats and Republicans are. Because we're members of audiences and we watch comedy shows and we watch TV shows. I'm an animator, I'm an artist. It's gotten to where if you're a Republican, you don't get to work. Well, now the Democrats are tasting some of it. Jim Gaffigan's audience is draining out from him.
If you like making people laugh, don't cut your audience in half. Alleged comedian Jim Gaffigan has expressed regret over losing Trump supporters due to his arrogant comments. Somehow they thought he was insulting them when he clearly was insulting them. Back in 2020, Jim trashed Trump online and lashed out on anyone who defended him. Now in a recent podcast, I guess Jim feels kind of bad about it.
He's showing regret. They're going to weigh in on their own theory, but I'll only say that I have heard Jim Gaffigan on Joe Rogan just tearing to Trump.
Trump lost the election. He's convinced this loyal base there was election interference. Trump didn't call for backup for the Capitol Police.
And his audience, there's a lot of conservative families, myself included. Our whole family went to see him at the Bridgestone here in Tennessee. It was a blast of a night. I think Jim Gaffigan's one of the funniest guys in the world. So it bugged me hearing him on a podcast when he starts ripping on Trump.
I regret that people think that I was criticizing people that support Trump. That was never the intention. It was, I regret someone said now I can't follow you anymore. And I kind of said F you to them. There are true diehard Trump fans that, probably enjoyed my comedy that because they feel so passionately will never forgive me.
And I actually appreciated that Trump at that one event, they had Jim Gaffigan come and do a set at that Catholic charity event in New York. And Jim Gaffigan just tore Biden and Kamala apart and had great things to say about Trump in the comedy set. And even Trump laughed at it. I thought it was great.
President Biden couldn't be here tonight. The DNC made sure of that.
I used to think the Democrats were crazy for saying that men have periods, but then I met Tim Walz.
I want these guys just doing comedy against both sides. However, you're allowed to be a Democrat comedian and just rip on Trump. That's free speech. But the audience is also free to say, nah, I can't, I don't give you a pass.
Because you're so positive and influential in everybody's life. You're apologist. Dagan, he doesn't get it. It wasn't about disagreement over personal beliefs, but rather the nasty way he dismissed Trump voters as less than moral. They weren't as moral as him. He was at this moral high ground. The problem is there's no ticket sales in woke moral high ground. So that apology was weaker than Charlie Hurd after 3 push-ups. They don't get it, right? They make the insults, Dagan, and they do this, and then they realize that, wow, I don't have any fans coming to my shows. So now, all of a sudden, they're like, but it's not even an apology. It's kind of like, oh, well, until it's good for me again, until CNN starts paying higher booking prices, we're just going to start walking over to Fox. And we've seen a lot of it, Kat. We've seen a lot of people that were so anti, and now they're like, hey, is there any seats available over there?
Yeah.
Many people are just unprincipled followers, let's face it. When Trump swells, everyone's going to be like, put on the MAGA hat. I want to be, I'm not going to say the mean things about him anymore. And then when Obama's in office and everyone feels the fear, everyone goes over there. Even people on the right will go over and either support him or just not insult him so much, because you can't insult the most popular guy. You can't insult the most popular band. You can't insult the most popular. Suddenly, it's taboo to make fun of them. Whereas in comedy, especially in entertainment, you should be able to go after almost anyone for any reason. People dislike some things I say about the left, and they go, I don't want to buy his stuff. And I have to be okay with that. That's the cost of telling people what my politics are. So I could shut up about my politics, but they're too important for me to be quiet about. I want to speak. I'm willing to take the heat. I'm willing to lose some business. There's guys that aren't willing to lose the business. They be quiet about being pro-Trump and they get more work. That's called just, put on your big boy pants. Life isn't fair.
You dance with the devil and you don't want to pay it, Charlie? I don't understand.
No, he says he regrets. No, what he regrets is that all these people dunked on him and don't listen to him anymore. But in his defense, and the only thing that I thought was kind of strange about what he said on that podcast is that he's like, I care a lot about politics. I really follow politics. I don't think that he does. I think that he reads the New York Times. He believes everything he reads in the New York Times. So he actually thinks all those things that they write about Donald Trump are true. And then he goes out and he says it. And then he's surprised when he finds out that he's been lied to all this time and that he's wrong about it. And that actually he's wrong about Donald Trump. And he's even more wrong about the people who support him.
He does only read one source. And you can tell because every Democrat that you ever talked to, when they criticize Trump, it was all stuff they're just repeating from mainstream media, including the lies. Like, it'd be one thing if you get a couple things wrong every once in a while. It's another thing when you only repeat the same things. Nothing that came out of Jim Gaffigan's mouth about Trump, I did not hear from MSNBC first. So it's just repeating, he's not thinking, and maybe he should think. And maybe he should give credit to his opposition that some of his audience who disagree with him also might be thinking.
I guess I'm just anti-cancel culture across the board. So
Yeah,
I think it's wrong when anybody's getting canceled for supporting Trump or. I would never say if you voted for XYZ, then don't talk to me. I would, no matter. I would never say that. Thank you. There's just one person.
I'm an elite.
1,000%.
Yeah.
So, and it's also, it's true in both directions. And him, quite honestly, I mean, his career is going better than mine is. Jim Gaffigan is one of the most recognizable comics out there. So I don't know. I mean, I guess the fact that he's acknowledging it, I wouldn't want to cancel Trump's supporters supporting Trump, and I wouldn't want to cancel him for saying what he said. I think it's a positive thing when someone comes out and says this was a mistake.
Well, he should apologize and say that it's a mistake if that's what he believes. I also wouldn't care if he said I was right and I hate all Trump supporters. That's what a free speech advocate does. But the audience also has free speech. Those are the rules. You don't get to dictate what someone buys. They are free to either go see him because they think he's funny, or they find out about his personal life and say, I don't find him funny anymore. What I don't agree with is this guy.
I just think as a comic, the best compliment I could get after a show is when people ask me, what are you, Republican, Democrat? And I love that because that means I did my job as a comedian. And as much as Jim fell into the trap, I think the trap was also set, and it's become this divisive thing where the late night shows somehow became a left-right thing, which was never the case. That was not,
Carson never did that.
No.
Carson never did it. None of them did it. It's not comedy didn't become a left-right thing. It became a left-left thing. Let's be fair. Right-wingers, we did not go out and start canceling leftist comedians. Jim Gaffigan's probably the only one I ever heard of. And frankly, he's got an audience so big and makes so many millions of dollars, I don't see how he's even going to see it. But there's rock musicians that have come. Taylor Swift has come out and spoken against Trump. You think Taylor Swift is suddenly in the poorhouse? She makes more money than probably the top 100 next artists combined. I don't agree with him that it's the right and the left came after each other. I'm a right winger. I watch lots of left-wing entertainment. I never canceled them on the left. There's too much art that I enjoy by leftists, famous painters going back hundreds of years, musicians going back to the 60s, the Beatles, all these hippies and leftists, Elton John, Freddie Mercury. I absolutely love their music, and my life would be worse without them. So I don't care what your personal little life is about and how vocal you are about a candidate.
And it became, if you appeared on certain, even podcasts, you go on Rogan, you go on Carolla, you're considered conservative. You go on Silverman or Maron, you're liberal, and that shouldn't be the case. So comedy also somehow drew this line. And listen, I get it as a comic. You guys know where I work when I'm not working here. And the reaction to me being on Fox is, whoa, you're on there? And the same thing the other way around. It's like, what? And it's like, why are we drawing lines in comedy?
Agreed.
It shouldn't be that way. Comedy should just be comedy, and you should be able to make fun of Trump, Biden and everybody else, and it just should be universal. We laugh at everything.
Now that's about the meritocracy of comedy. See, when DEI comes in, when diversity, when you have to state a certain political view becomes more important than the thing you're creating, comedy, that's like a diversity hire. You know, you're not funny unless you make Democrat jokes or Republican jokes. So really this is about meritocracy, and merit does not mean having only right-wing or left-wing content.
I guess my pushback is comics on our side, we never drew the line. Gutfeld Show never would say to anyone, didn't care who you were, if you wanted to be on the show and Greg thought you were funny, you'd be on the show.
Yeah, right.
So when I see them complain, you started this game. So I'm like laying in your bed, you. I mean, honestly, I'm sorry. I am because you know what? My shows are sold out all over the country. But guess what? If I went to do one of their buildings, they would try to shut me down. So I don't go to their buildings. I built my own house, and I don't have to follow the rules. They made this game. So now you're mad because you picked the wrong team? Stay on your team.
They made this game. They certainly did. So while I appreciate Jim Gaffigan's apology or regret, I got news for them. If things ever go back to liberals running culture again and them being the president and having both houses of Congress, it will be open season on conservatives. So don't let them fool you into thinking, oh, go easy on them, have mercy on Jim Gaffigan. I got nothing for you because I know what you people will do. You didn't learn your lesson. You don't think it's going to be neat to stand on your principle next time a Democrat's in office, next time there's a Democrat theater owner oppressing conservative talent. You're going to back him up. You're going to forget this day. You have zero respect for the truth that you're claiming. You only mean it because your side is on the outs. That's what I suspect about Gaffigan and many other people that are learning their lesson and coming over to the Republican side, is as soon as the other side goes, like I said when I opened this whole show, wherever the power is, they're all going to gravitate over there because they follow whoever's in power. That, I think, is probably 90% of the people out there, is they just flat out are empty-headed followers. Whoever's in charge, they'll go kiss up to them. I really respect, actually, the Democrats today that continue to criticize Trump and are just like so hardcore that you know they're not sitting there changing sides just because the crowds, just because the streets are full in a parade. Now it's safe for you to come in and join the back of the parade. Some of us have been on the front of that parade for 20 years in conservatism. And now you're a latecomer?
But you know what? We want, I think ultimately what everybody wants is the rules go back to what they were.
That's what I want.
Yeah, I want things to go back. I don't want to sit here and have these grudges. Look, if Jim is doing a mea culpa, hey, it's my bad. You know what, Jim? Good. Say it out loud. Do like you did here, and let's get it back to where it used to be. Let's get back to where talk shows are just funny.
That's just weakness coming out. They want it all to go back. That's their big defense is, hey, we're sorry. We're sorry. We just want you to let us have a pass until we get back in power, and then we'll be on you again, canceling you, making fun of you, calling you an idiot. So don't believe this whole, hey, I just want it to go back. It's not going to go back because of who Democrats are. It's not going to go back. It's not going to ever go back because of what you guys did. Now Republicans have a rare chance of pushing you guys out and leaving you out for as long as you can, because you can't be near power. Never let a Democrat near power. Never let a leftist near power. Never let a Marxist near power. They will never, ever be fair or merciful to you. Send this to your art friends. Watch another video right here. I'm Doug in Exile. What?